Imagine walking around with an extra 35 pounds on one of your legs. For almost 30 years, our next guest was misdiagnosed in her search for answers. Here to share her story is Emmy Rivera. Welcome to the show, Emmy.
Thank you for having me on.
Emmy, growing up, what were you told about what was going on with your leg, why your one leg was so different?
I was born with lymphedema, and the doctors did not know what was going on. So they told my parents it was the way my mother carried me in the womb, and they considered it a freak accident to what they call abnormal swelling and general fluid.
Tell us physically, what was it like living with this condition of lymphedema?
I was constantly exhausted. My body was so bogged down with all these toxins that I always felt like I had a hangover. I suffered from what they call brain fog because my mind was always foggy. I couldn't remember things. And the pain, oh man, I had chronic pain from the moment I woke up until the moment I went to bed. And I'm talking about pain in my hips, my knees, my back. This was a lot of pain, especially as a child, to experience this. And if you can think about this, I had an extra 35 pounds on one side of my body. So when I would walk, and we often joke about this, but I would have to walk with the momentum, get that momentum going so I could swing that 35 pounds with my weight. And I'm a very small, petite girl to begin with. So when I would walk, we would be able to walk like this with our gaits, like that. But I would have to swing my leg out. So you can imagine the hip damage and the hip pain I dealt with as a child and as a young adult.
When did you receive a real diagnosis of your condition?
Well, in 2012, I realized that my quality of life was in the tank, and I went to my primary care physician, and that is when they told me to take a diuretic, which is a water pill, and that eventually I would be in a wheelchair permanently, and this was the life that I had to accept. So I started doing my research, and I started Googling things that I was called as a child, such as big leg, elephant leg, things like that. And I was shocked to see that I saw these legs that looked like mine, but I lived in the United States and these people were all over the world, and I was not born with a parasite. So I was completely confused on how I looked like that. And eventually I ended up finding a doctor in France and in Germany. And after a few Skypes, I learned that there was a physician 4 hours away from me. So in 2013, I was diagnosed with primary lymphedema.